So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by Heath Rave. He's the singer of Altars of the Moon, who is a group with members from different groups. So, we're not gonna say it's a super group, it's a group with different members from different bands, and they're about to release their second album on November the 17th, and the album, is called "The Colossus and the Widow." So we're gonna talk all about it. So first of all, Heath, good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I like the decor in your apartment or house.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
So,
a nice place to sit in here. I usually work in here when I work from home too. So,
oh, nice. So I listened to the album, so it's very interesting. It's a 35-minute record, and it's doomy, but it also has a lot of like atmospherics. There's some songs that are pretty like instrumental and have like some background vocals. So I found it interesting because at first I thought it was gonna be like this like super heavy aggressive record from beginning to end, but I was surprised with all the atmospheric that you have. So some of the songs to me were almost like I could like meditate to them. So I found it pretty interesting. So let's talk a little bit about the record and so first of all, this is your second album. How did you guys get together? I know that for this album is the first one that you have the drummer from the Black Dahlia Murder join the band, correct?
correct. Al, yes, the first one with Alan. So I have a solo project called Lotus Thrones. I had just finished recording my first record. This is for the first Altars of the Moon. I just finished recording my first record, and Nathan had sent basically the foundation of the first Altars of the Moon to Jeff for Jeff to kind of mix and work on and stuff. And Jeff and Lotus Thrones was my first time like doing vocals recorded. So Jeff, and he had heard them because he was gonna help me put it out. So he was basically like, dude, do you just want to sing on this thing? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I did it at home, and it was fun. I got to take a bunch of like spiritual influences that were running with me at the time, and I got which I enjoy writing a lot, and I really enjoy prose and poetry, because I tend to when I have time I tend to consume books, but it's hard when you're a single parent. You're already doing a solo music project and you're an artist on your own, so basically a gig worker to make money, so always busy. So I'm usually listening to audiobooks, but when I want to read, I like a short little like snippets. So getting to write lyrics and sing them was fun and interesting. And I think the first one was just an experiment, and it was cool. Went pretty under the radar, and all the drums were programmed on it by Nate, and then they were cleaned up by Jeff. Jeff did most of the production value for it. So but that's how it came together. It was through because Nate's in Portland, Jeff's in Indianapolis, and at the time I was back home in South Dakota for a couple of years, but now I live just outside of Philadelphia. So this is all done through email too, and like file sharing and stuff. So this second round, we've all had records come out and stuff. So it was the second round, Nate got it was way more for the second record, it was way more it was well put together, knowing what we could do. And Nate had pretty great drum programming, but still it could use a human element. So Alan was already doing some stuff from Chrome Waves, and me and Jeff had been friends with him for a very long time because Jeff and I were in Woolhammer together, and Black Dahlia took us on tour. I'm so close with all those guys, and we just asked Alan because they were they were kind of waiting to, I think, to let everyone know what they were going to do after Trevor and all that. So Alan came in and killed it. He took the template that Nate did, and he had this like, Alan's a monster. It's incredible. So it's probably my favorite part of the record, actually, compared to the first one. It feels very well thought out.
So yeah, so now you having a second record and already like working with the guys more. Do you feel like this is more like a band now? Like the first record was, like you said, like an experiment, and now you feel like you're like blending more together.
For sure. I definitely think we know what everyone brings to the table, and are able to compensate where we need to with our specific strong skill sets, So yeah, and I think the elements are great. They work together beautifully. And there's never what I really like about it, which I've heard can be a challenge in some projects that are, like approached this way, or when you get, a group of individuals like ourselves, like, I guess, in a virtual room or in a room where people can tend to, I feel like it's very collaborative, and there's rarely ever a thing that anyone's like, I don't know about that. I think we all we let it breathe the art that it wants to be. And it's a monster that kind of like grows and exists on its own. And yeah, that's my favorite part about it. I don't feel like there's any I don't know, trivial aspects to it. That there's never been an argument with us about anything in it. Everything that gets brought to the table is almost always kept.
So for you, you told me that this was the first time that you're singing, writing
Well, no, it
lyrics.
wasn't the first time I was singing.
Oh, no, thinking about writing lyrics, right?
Oh no, I wrote all the lyrics. I had gotten the first Lotus Thrones record done.
Okay.
And it hadn't come out yet. So I had done all that. And on the Lotus Throne stuff, I play and sing and write everything for that with the occasional guest musician. And Jeff puts that out, but he had already heard what I was capable of on that, because I had been just the drummer in Wolfhammer. But the thing was that Jeff knew, and others have known, in Wolfhammer, prior to Adam joining it for the second record, I had wrote a great deal of the lyrics and vocal arrangements for the Wolfhammer stuff, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I would show them to Ryan Ryan and I actually on the first couple Wolfhammer records would work together now and then. We'd collaborate. And then on the second one, I think I contributed, I think there were three songs, that 3 or 4 that were all my lyrics and vocals before Adam joined, like arrangements. And then Ryan or Adam, they would take what I do and they would obviously improve upon it, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't
for
my
Altars of the Moon, what was your process this time, like with the lyrics and the themes that you're writing on this record?
So the first one was I delved deeply into like Ayurvedic culture at the time, and I was very deep into my yoga practice and reading a lot of old Ayurvedic literature, like the Mahabharata, and which the Mahabharata has a chapter in it which everyone knows is the Bhagavad Gita. It's just the Bhagavad Gita is a little tiny chapter in an epic saga. And if you go back and look at that, or you read the Ramayana and stuff like that, like those books, for being 5,000 to 6,000 years old, are like, there's like spaceships and lasers, and like, it's pretty crazy stuff, man. But that one was about a chakra. You'll see it in a lot of the Hindu deities. And I don't feel like murdering the name of it, but it's the spinning thing you see on their finger. That chakra is actually a cosmic weapon, and when you throw it, it will chase down its intended target till the deity tells it to stop. It will chase you forever and ever until you are either destroyed or the deity forgives you. So that's what Brahmastra was about. Brahmastra is the ultimate weapon. So on the second one, we kind of talked maybe that, but I moved away from I'm always delving in studying things. And while I still have a pretty deep yoga practice, I don't necessarily adhere to the dogma as much as I was back then. But this time I was kind of still thinking from that cosmic nature. And then like the inherent slavery of people to the lack of free will, so to say, and then the idea that even a god could be controlled and used as a weapon. And you can metaphorically look at that how and then interpret it however you like, because I like it that way. But it was it was a bit science fiction. It's a bit it's a lot of misanthropy and a lot of like spiritual focus and reflection on humanity.
Yeah, no, that's what when I was listening to the record, yeah, I thought, there's a lot of like meditation, like you say, spiritual. It's like a spiritual type of record.
For
And
sure, definitely.
I'm gonna show the cover because I think the cover shows that. So it's the Colossus and the Widow. So with this album title, what do you mean by the Colossus? I can see the Colossus right there in the picture, but what do you mean about the Widow? Like, what's the title of the album referring to?
There, so there is a imminent threat to the solar system from this planet or solar system galaxy devouring godlike black hole, controlled by a another group of sentient entities. Humanity in its arrogance thinks that it should go take a look at it rather than run, but space time and travel takes centuries. So the man who is so brave enough to be sent out to look upon it and to gather information leaves behind someone they love, and she knows that as soon as they leave the atmosphere that she is a widow.
Wow, this is a very deep record, especially with what we're discussing. And I really like this album cover, and I think it really represents the music. Who worked on this album cover?
Oh, Nathan made that. Nate did.
Oh, so you kept it, yeah, in the band. So.
Everything's in house, man. We do everything ourselves. I made the video.
Hey,
yeah.
Life is expensive. We need.
Yeah, totally. So, and there's like when you learn, there's cool tools with technology, and like I'm not just a tattooer. I'm a graphic artist. And I'm moving even more so into that aspect of my career as I've gotten older. So, but yeah, I do videos for bands. I've done a lot of. I'm working on a Chrome Waves video today for Jeff. I've done stuff for his other project, Deeper Graves, which I've also done vocals for. I've done a few of my Lotus Thrones videos. Just they're not so much more videos as they're visualizers. They're manipulated stock footage, but I can take footage that people send. But and then he's pretty good at. Nate had a really specific vision before he ever brought any of us into this. This is his child. We're just the village that are help rearing it with him, So
yeah. So since you like those deep meanings and sci-fi, have you ever thought of like writing a book?
Oh, maybe when I'm retired and my partner and I have found a wonderful place to read books and go bird watching together. That's something I could consider, but there's the amount of focus that takes. I don't know. Yeah, you never know. I don't know. The story I just told you, you know, it exists in the abstract. The idea of fleshing it out, I don't know. I feel like it would I don't know that I wouldn't ruin something like that.
Well, it would be harder to like making
Yeah, yeah,
into
for
a
sure.
book, but it seems, that it sounds like a cool idea
Yeah, definitely.
for a
Definitely.
book. So yeah, I like the title. Obviously it's a deep album, and the album, it's the songs like when I was listening to it, it felt like every song connected to each other.
Well, here's the thing that is sort of that what is we there's not so much songs as movements. If
Mhm.
you want to go back and listen to it today, think about it as a record with two sides and not as 9 songs.
Okay, yeah, I listened to this. I listened to it a few times, but I listened to it morning, and yeah, that's why it feels like it's
Yeah, it's
continuous.
not there's I the first altars is one song and it's 23 some odd minutes. And that was still the idea behind this, was approaching it as, an orchestration, like not quite a symphony, but like an orchestration with movements and, periods in it and like, moments. So, but in order to make it palatable to, the general like streaming public, things like that, we found places that worked well to like to add like whatever that is, timestamp it for people so that it would feel like there were songs and we could release some singles, but they're not it in and of itself. It's meant to be listened to in one shot, not
Mhm.
as albums or on the vinyl, in two sides, like how
Mhm.
records, like how records used to be anyways. You had the A side and the B side, and they both like, and people never, sequencing was so important to records then, so that you could feel like you had these, like, like I can think of records where like for periods of time I'll love the B side more than the A side, but they both have they work together but have distinct feelings on their own. And I think that we found a nice split in there for that, to add that element of emotion. But it's on its own, the Colossus and the Widow is one song split into 9 movements and two sides.
Yeah, and I feel like the B side is where it goes like in the more like introspective, like
For sure, till the end.
yeah. Mhm. The what?
till till the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The last 3 minutes are the
Yeah.
most violent and vile on the whole record.
Yeah, it gets like soft, and then at the end,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Yep.
goes
Hmm.
back. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. So talking about records, I see you have a record collection in the back. Like what are maybe some of your favorite records that you're spinning right now?
Right now, okay. Can I pull my phone up here? Let me look. I
Yes.
do since stuff gets like end of year lists and stuff like that, because people ask you about them. One thing that I
I
did
know I'm
this year,
already working on mine for my channel.
so one thing that I did this year was I made a 2023 playlist in my streaming, and I
That's
just
what
add when
I
I
do
hear.
the same.
Yep. So let me go to that. Actually, you know what? I can do this. Let me do my on repeat. Let me find that. That'll help me actually, between the new and the old.
Yeah, that's what I do usually for the end
Okay.
year list.
So for 2023, I think my favorite record is that Spotlights, the Alchemy for the Dead record.
Hmm.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It's my favorite heavy record. It's a heavy record, but it's definitely appeals to my more esoteric nature with stuff, like I don't while I, come from a certain place that I'm like associated with, I don't necessarily like, I'm not a black metaler or a doom metaler or anything of that. I like stuff that's very weird, So like and if you listen to my solo project Lotus Thrones, that's basically a post-punk industrial band. So but like that's my favorite record of the year, probably. For something that would really, really fucking destroy you. The new End record is Have you heard End?
I haven't heard that. I heard the Spotlights record.
Okay. There's a band called End, and it's Will Putney from Misery Signals. My friend Jay, who was he's a singer for Shia LaBeouf, and he was in Reign Supreme, but he does bass. The drummer for Dillinger Escape Plan, and I forget who the guitar player is on, but it is one of the nastiest pieces of like just destructive. You can tell they're hardcore kids, but they are making a monolith of metal that it's one of the meanest records I've ever heard in my life.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. The new Harm's Way is incredible. Let's see. I loved that Pupil Slicer record that came out this year too. It's super weird and melodic and cool. And I think kids are doing some really, really neat stuff with like the music I hear from young people is so interesting, you know, and like I played in a lot of metal stuff, like I consider myself more of like a hardcore kid in like the Converge and Neurosis sense. Neurosis is a hardcore band to me.
So for us, what is young people now? Because I'm guessing we're both in our 40s.
I'm talking about kids that are in their 20s doing interesting stuff like Vane or like Loathe or Code Orange or
I love Loathe and Code Orange put out an amazing record. Some people say like, oh, it's not hard all the way, but what they do.
No, I love that. See, that's the thing about like the People Slicer record too, is like there's electronic elements. There's like they've been listening to everything like from like Nine Inch Nails to Emperor throughout their entirety of their existence, and they don't define themselves by like, and they're not afraid to like anything. And I love that, and that's how I've always tried to be. You know, another one of my favorite records this year is the Boy Genius record from Julian Baker and Phoebe and all them. Yeah,
I actually reviewed that record. That's a great indie rock record.
Oh my gosh, it's so that song We're in Love, it breaks my heart. It's so gorgeous. Let's see what else from this year did I like a lot. I've been back on some old stuff too, like the second Blind Melon record I've been listening to a lot. Soup.
That was a great record that went. I think people really remember more their other record, but
and like if you like, it's dark, it's really sad, and it like I think it ranks up there with like Jar of Flies from Alice in Chains as far as like a semi 70s sounding grunge sounding record, you know. Other new band, I love that Homefront record too. Did you hear Homefront? They sound like it's like
that one.
Imagine like really good like I don't know, like it's like street punk, but it's a post-punk record. Like they're like doing like I don't know. It's like it's like street punk with tons of synths. It's radical. It's super cool. You could see like the Doc Martens being shorn up while you're wearing it, but it's like if they were into Depeche Mode or something. It's really, really cool stuff.
What's the name of the band?
Homefront.
Homefront.
They're
that sounds like something that I might enjoy. I listen to a lot of music.
Cool.
But there's so much music going out that sometimes go under the radar because there's so many things right now. But yeah, it seems like you like different styles. So yeah, cool. Yeah,
I love tons of stuff. Also, I mean, I gotta put a shout out to An Imperial and Krieg. There's a new Krieg record out.
I interviewed them. Yeah.
I did the outro for that. The noise on the end, that was a piece I added to it. I actually added to it. And I just did an intro for them for a split I think they have coming out. I don't know who it's with, and I don't know if I can say anything about it. So yeah. So but Neil, I played drums live with Krieg once. So Neil's one of my best friends in the world. So
I talked with him,
yeah, he wanted me to add something like on recording for him. So I've been doing some sound. I did some sound design and noise for that. So
So do you prefer do you prefer doing the drumming to the singing, or is it something that that comes natural? Yeah.
Honestly, I really like playing guitar and synths. Like I do all that in Lotus Thrones. It's fun. It's like a new learning experience for me. So, and learning like production and stuff like that. I mean, for Lotus Thrones and for what I made for Krieg, and even for my vocals for altars, I do a lot of my own manipulation, uh, edits, things like that. So I consider my favorite instrument my computer now, actually.
No, a good thing. So when you talk about computer laptops, like what is your take? Can you perform a metal concert without a laptop?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Some things, but if you're using it for writing and if it's purposeful, like I think it's a wonderful tool. I don't know. People are some people are so curmudgeon-y about certain things, and that's fine. That's for them. You can't. I don't feel like we would have a world without. If I didn't have my friend shitting on me for like doing everything on my computer and making fun of me for it, I wouldn't question its purity or its value, or if I was making something good. So everything that I make, I'm thinking about the guy that's like, oh, it's on computer, whatever. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna make it good enough to make you reconsider your opinion on that. So
Totally.
yeah.
So Heath, it's been great chatting with you about the music, Altars of the Moon, and other things that you've been listening, and about the themes on the record. So you're putting out the album on November the 17th. I'm gonna put the link so people can pre-order it. It's gonna be out on vinyl, right?
Correct. Yep. Vinyl and digital. Yep.
Vinyl and digital. So the one last question before I let you go. I know this. Will this project? I haven't seen. There's no dates right now for shows. Is this a type of band that you will tour at some point, or will this be more of a band that puts out record but doesn't tour?
I don't think we'd ever tour, but I would never say never on the idea of a show if it was the right opportunity, the right sort of catered event. Do you know what I mean? That's like with the right bands and the right level of exposure and stuff. Like it would have to be something special to get us out, because we're all very like I don't tour anymore. Nate's Wada's so busy. Black Dahlia Murder, Jesus,
Oh yeah.
They're back out the gate. Jeff and I are both very career oriented, and then I am also a parent, so it's like
I can totally understand. I have 2 kids, so
yeah. So I don't know, and I don't really like touring, honestly. I'm usually the cancer in the van. Like after a week, I'm usually ready to get home, and I am not afraid to put that shitty vibe out there. So
well, you know what? That's good to be honest, because like some people romanticize touring, like it has to be a party, but you're not sleeping in your bed. Sometimes you're in a stinky bus. If you're not so
sleeping on floors. Yeah, it sucks, dude. Eating shitty food, getting shitty sleep, like feeling like shit,
And I know that Nate from Uada is also in the band. I actually saw Uada. They played Puerto Rico in February. Cool. He could pass next to me and I wouldn't know who he is because they wear those hoods. So I have no idea. He could have been standing next to me before they played it, and I wouldn't know who they were. But yeah, I saw them back in Puerto Rico. They did a very cool show.
So, yeah, for sure. It's cool. Yeah. But like I said, I'd never say never to the idea of a show or two in the right setting. So, but
yeah, that's a very honest answer. like no, fuck touring. Like
no.
Yeah, and especially if you're more like an underground band, I would think that sometimes touring could be more of a cost than a benefit.
Oh, it's absolutely a cost. There was never a single Wolfhammer tour that we made money on.
That's
yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. So so Heath, I'm gonna put the link so people can pre-order the album, and hopefully maybe you do some maybe like just like a few shows like near
Yeah,
your
totally.
where you live. So yeah, I think a few shows could be cool. So anything you like to say to the people before we go, about what to expect?
Buy the record. It's great. And then check out all our other bands. Obviously Black Dahlia Murder, Wada, Chrome Waves, Deeper Graves, Lotus Thrones. We all have stuff out. And we all have
I've
like,
listened to most of them. I listened to Chrome Waves. I've listened, obviously, Black Dahlia Murder, and
yeah,
there's another one that I haven't listened to, but I know Chrome Waves. I'm like, yeah, I've listened. Uh,
yeah.
so
And
yeah,
I had a new record come out with Lotus Thrones this year. That's available on vinyl through Seeing Red. I think Black Dahlia is probably going to have something interesting up soon, and then
yeah,
they'll
that's gonna be a very anticipated record because it will be
yeah, and
the first one without Trevor.
yep, and I Jeff's going to be dropping some really really cool singles throughout the year with Chrome Waves. So yeah, should be cool.
Yeah. Well, people, you heard it here on the Shield on a Couch. Support all those bands, and because we need like music that's not like we can't have all commercial. We need underground bands too, because let's face it, some of the best music is the underground bands,
For sure.
because they're not following a formula of what the record label like. No, you need that hit single, or we're not gonna put out the record. So underground bands, they do what the fuck they want to do. So so you
Yeah.
you usually get something very pure and direct. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.